Hey guys, welcome back! In this video, we're gonna talk about the second aspect of how to get professional video quality, the lightings. If you haven't checked my first aspect, please check my last video. Since this episode is called lighting, we're not gonna talk about the light per se. At the end of the day, you want to master the technique, not the equipment. Of course, the choice of equipment is essential as well, and you might ask me what kind of lights and the brand I choose for my setup. I understand there are many types of lights and they're difficult to choose. Therefore, in the last chapter of this video, I will introduce the easiest and relatively the cheapest solution to achieve the same result. Again, you don't have to focus on the gear, but on the knowledge. Okay, let's get started. The most widely used lighting setup is called three-point lighting. This setup uses 3 light sources to light up the scene. The three-point lighting can be used in most cases, and it really works great. To create a three-point lighting setup, you need a key light, a fill light, and a backlight. Did you see how those lights affect my picture? Let's break it down and see how it works. The key light is the primary light source in the scene. Its function, obviously, to light up your subject. Most of the time, it's put at the side of your subject and about 45 degrees above. Unless for a specific purpose, the key light area should be the brightest in the entire scene. As I mentioned in the last video, brightness will draw the viewer's attention, so the key light area should be the spot you want your audience to focus on. The next is the fill light. The fill light's function is to brighten the shadow areas in the scene and consequently decrease the contrast. If I kill the fill light, you will see my face is very dark and lost details, and that's the reason why you need a fill light. But if you give too much like this, well, my face looks flat because no depth on my face. You should be aware of that. The fill light is usually put along with the camera, pointing in the same direction. The last one is the backlight, or you could say room light because this function is to create a rim around your subject so that he or she or they can be visually separated from the background. Typically, the backlight is put directly at the back of your subject and at a high angle. In my studio, I always put on those backlights because if I turn them off, well, you see my body and head submerge into the background and lose depth. A well-placed rim light, like this, will enhance the scene and deliver a very cinematic picture. Now you should have a sense of how to set up the light. Next, we'll talk about how to soften the light. The fact is, if you miss this part, even you follow the lighting techniques I mentioned before, you may find your lighting look incongruous and disappointing. Let's take a look. Now I've set up the 3 lights. Obviously, the key light is very hard on my face, creating harsh lights between the bright and shadow areas. This is not a good way to light up a person's face. We need to soften the key light to smudge the shadow like this. Now it looks much comfortable. In the same way, we can soften the fill light as well. There are several methods to soften the light, and the simplest way is just using a softbox in front of the light source, like this one. My key light has a softbox like this, which can directly attach to the light fixture. This usually offers the best light quality, but requires to do a little research on how those boxes work on your light fixtures. Well, you need to buy a box for each light source in the scene. Another way to soften the light is using diffusion. You can use a diffusion flag like this and put it in front of the light. But something you should be aware of that the light might spill from the side of the fixture, and you also need a C-stand to support the flag. Or you can use a diffusion gel like this and just attach it in front of the light. But there are tons of different types of diffusion gels with different purposes. For those who just started making videos, this is not really practical. The method I think is very useful is using the bounce board. This one. To bounce your light to the scene. The bounce board is a film term. Describes a certain reflective materials to reflect the light. The most common bounce board is just a white plastic foam board. You can point the light to the board and use it to redirect the light to your subject. The good news is some light fixtures already have the built-in diffusion, and you don't have to bother using a separate one. Plus, they're not expensive. Those are a good starter to help you light up a simple scene. One of the popular lights for the portraiture is the ring light like this. I found this is very versatile in many other scenarios. The one I have has variable color temperatures from tungsten to daylight. You can match the color of your lights to other lights in the scene. About the idea of color temperature, I will talk about it in the next video. Besides, these bulbs are LEDs, which means the light is powerful efficient, and the ring is finished with the anti-glare matte surface, so it already can diffuse light. Most of all, it's not expensive. Mine only cost me about like $150. Usually, a professional LED light can cost over like $300, and this one is pretty budget friendly. As for the fill light, you don't even have to buy a light, you can just use this. A reflector. It's cheap, effective, and easy to use. Using a reflector is also useful if you shoot outside in the daytime. You can reflect the sunlight to get a perfect feel for your subject. A reflector kit usually includes a gold, silver, and white surfaces, also a diffusion and a blackout. So they're definitely enough for all kinds of situations. For the backlight, I found on-camera LEDs are handy because they're usually small, lightweight, and using batteries. You can simply mount them above and usually just tape or hang them because they're light, they won't fall. Also, you can put it on your camera as the key light when you shoot in a very tight area, which doesn't allow you to bring a big fixture. All this type of equipment are not expensive. There are lots of different brands you can compare and buy online. For you to start, I also list the ones I use in the description, which I think are really good bargains with professional quality. If you are interested in, you can check them out. I hope this video finds you a good knowledge to understand the basics of lighting. In the next video, I will talk about the last aspect of how to make a good video, the camera. Stay tuned and see you in the next episode.